G'day guys, here I am at Belair Railway Station in the Adelaide Hills. Now, rather appropriately, Belair Railway Station is a station where both broad and standard gauge tracks are serviced daily. However, unlike the break of gauge stations of old, passengers and goods can't be transferred between these two lines, and in fact no passenger trains or freight trains stop on the standard gauge here, unless they're pausing in the loop to let another train pass by. Now, of course, I'm here to talk about John Wilson's upcoming book, The Break of Gauge. Now, this book will be over 200 pages and full of colour photos, diagrams, and more. The expected release date of this book is around March-April this year. Now, I've already spoken previously on chapters 1 through 6, and today we're going to have a brief look at chapters 7, 8, and 9. Now, in chapter 7 of this book, John discusses Robert Fairley and his involvement with the gauge problem in Australia. Now, many of you may know Robert Fairley for his double engines, and for those of you unfamiliar, I will put some pictures in, but it's basically those engines where it looks like two steam locos back to back. Now, Robert Fairley was trying his hardest to get the narrow gauge used in Australia, and he did have the belief of a slow train is better than no train. Now, he attempted to get this in New South Wales, however, he was heavily opposed by a gentleman who was staunch on having the 4-foot 8.5-inch standard gauge. There's a lot of interesting info in this chapter, and I do think it'll be rather enjoyed. Now, we move on to chapter 8, and chapter 8 talks of the first break of gauge stations in Australia, the first being in Tasmania, and the second being in South Australia. Of course, South Australia. John goes on to discuss the Cornish miners who lived and worked in and around Kadina in South Australia. The Cornish miners brought with them piskies and tommyknockers, who were known for warning them of dangers in the mines. And it was during the opening of the Kadina railway station that an event occurred that some could argue was the piskies and tommyknockers warning of the dangers of the break of gauge. In chapter 9, John goes on to further discuss South Australia and the gauge problem there. In particular, a focus on Balaclava-Hamley Bridge and the decision on where to base a break of gauge station. Some would say that the decision to choose Hamley Bridge as the location for a break of gauge station was a poor decision. However, that's discussed much more in the book, and it's well worth reading. I've taken a much shorter approach this week in discussing these chapters because I really think that it's worth having a look at this book when it comes out and reading more yourself. John has chosen some really good photos of his own, as well as those available to him from archives, and he's gotten diagrams that really help piece it all together. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing this book come out, and I can't wait to discuss the upcoming chapters with you. Thanks for watching.